He's supposed to join us with friends when we went for some movie, family movie projection. And that night he never turned up, he didn't ring up. Normally, he's always, when he go for a trip, when he returned at the airport, he normally would have called us, you know, I'll be home after an hour or so. But that night, it was quite strange, you know. We didn't know anything about it. We got home about 11 o'clock and he wasn't home. My wife then started to worry about it. And so, you know, I said, oh, this is too late to start inquiry. It was 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning. Nothing still happened and couldn't see any sign of him. And I was just about to get up and maybe get on the phone, where all of a sudden a couple of uniformed blue slack-legged walk in the front door, and at that time we realized immediately that something was wrong. After Frederick reported this UFO incident, I inclined to think that it could be some intelligent life in the outer space, despite all the officials are trying to suppress this. Or really makes me very confused, because knowing Frederick what he radiated and knowing my son wouldn't make himself so ridiculous in stating things like that. So I'm inclined to believe that really must be something in the space that the general population may not aware to be. And I realized after his disappearance, which I couldn't have the opportunity before, how many calls I get from various parts of the world. And they really encouraged me to believe that he could be still alive, maybe with another intelligence in the space.
Stephen Robey, air traffic controller on duty then, explains the reported UFO's movement.
Times and coming from various directions. And then he started orbiting, and the aircraft was orbiting above him. And on several occasions he sort of stated that towards the end it wasn't an aircraft. And he described it as having a sort of a green light on it, and also it appeared to be a sort of a silver metallic colour. He described it as being of a long shape, and as I said before, a silver colour with the various lights on it. And he actually did say it wasn't an aircraft. So it's very strange. Finally, we lost contact with him in a very strange way. The communications he was putting out seemed to break. People describe it as a sort of a metallic sound, the last transmission that was sent from Delta Sierra Juliet.
Well, the most interesting one of the lot is this farmer, that he was baling hay, and he said the bearing in the baler started to scream and make a noise, and he'd been having trouble with it, and he thought, oh no, not this again. So he stopped, put the baler out of gear, dismounted from the tractor and turned round, and the baler had stopped and the noise was still going. And he said, I was trying to come to grips with this for a minute, and he said, then I became aware of a shadow and looked up, and he said I was under a big saucer, he called it. And he said, going from the length of the bale and the tractor would have been 90 feet in diameter. And it was kind of, and as he's flown in aircraft and he gets his props done, he knows when an aircraft's about to stall, and he thought, shit, this thing's going to drop on me. And he ran out beside the paddock, out from underneath it, looking up, and he said looking up under it, it kind of came in and went up, just dark, you couldn't see anything. But the most remarkable part was, you know, on merry-go-rounds at shows, they have the horses, and they have, it's that wide, they've got these little wooden lats. Have you noticed them? They're nailed to it so you don't slip over.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They're about inch and a half by half an inch, and then there's a gap, and there's another one. They're all around the edge. Well, he said that's what it looked like underneath, but there were 2 rows of them. If you blinked, you could see one row, which was rotating very fast, but the other one wasn't, and it was rotating in the opposite direction, but very slow. You could see it quite plainly. And he said as it moved slowly along, it kind of came up like that, but there was a piece sticking up out of the top like a dome, and round the bottom of the dome appeared to be a black seal of some kind. That's what he took it to be, like a weather seal or something. And he said the dome had like a church door in it with an arched top, but no windows that he could see, and no handle on the door or anything. And he said on what he took to be the rear of it, there was slight protrusions that he would call rudders, and 2 big round holes, and he said there was shimmering heat coming out of one, and the other one, there were little spurts of flame coming out of it, and he gained the impression that one engine wasn't working, you know, because one disc wasn't spinning, and then, as he cleared it, he said the most remarkable thing of all, there was a Cessna aeroplane stuck to the side of it.
The whole aeroplane? The
whole aeroplane, yeah. He said the aeroplane, the tops of the wings were flat against the side of it, and the tail was kind of hanging down, a bit clear of the edge. And he said there were no chains or ropes or anything like that visible. And I think he said there was some oil running down the side of the Cessna, and he thought this may have been ingested if there was an air intake underneath or something, because heat and flame coming out would suggest air burning, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Combustion
and anyhow, he scratched the registration number on the tractor with a nail, and he said, next time I come up, I'll give you the number. And he did. It's written down at the shop in a book. And the interesting thing is, it was the day following when that plane went missing between Victoria and Tasmania.
Right.
You know, when that one, he rang up and said there were lights around him and all kinds of things. Yeah.
So this would have put it back in around about October 78.
Yes, yeah. And it was the day following it. He said, anyhow, he said, this thing moved off in the direction of where the military manoeuvres were. He said it kind of went over the ridge. He said the last he saw of it with this high-pitched sound.